How's it going, guys? In today's video, I am breaking down every team in the Eastern Conference, starting with who I think is the worst team at number 15 and going all the way to who I think is going to be the best team at number 1. So we're going to look at those standings, and then at the end of this video, you want to stick around because I'm going to tell you who I think the two teams that are going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and who's going to end up heading to the NBA Finals. So thanks so much for joining me on today's video. My name is Troy, and I do NBA videos like this on this channel all the time. So if that's your thing, would love if you drop a like on this video, going for 327 likes today, and would also love if you subscribe to this channel as well. This channel is blowing up, and would love to have you be a part of it. Okay, so we are starting with number 15, and that is going to be the New York Knicks. If you're a Knicks fan, you didn't have to wait too long for me to talk about your team on today's video. They're number 15, but let me preface this by saying I like what the Knicks are doing. I like how they drafted Obi Toppin in the lottery. I like the pick of Emmanuel Quickly. I think he's got a nice defensive presence for this team, maybe show him something. I like what they did by hiring Tom Thibodeau as coach, and I expect big things not only from RJ Barrett, but also from Mitchell Robinson as we get into this season. I think they're both poised for nice breakout years where they can kind of take a bit of a leap. But I've got the Knicks at 15 because I just don't think they have the firepower to do a whole lot of damage in the NBA this year. Their best veteran is Julius Randle, and I think when that guy's the best veteran on your team, then probably not going to go that far in the win column. And yeah, they have some nice young pieces and Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, but when it's all said and done, still going to fall a little bit short of making too much noise in the NBA this year. So number 14, I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I think whenever you've got a team with Kevin Love, whenever you got a team with Andre Drummond, then you are going to get a few wins during a season. I also like what they've done by drafting Isaac Okoro. He had a really nice preseason. I think that he has some potential in the NBA and in this league. I'm also expecting some internal improvement from Colin Sexton and Darius Garland especially. I think they have some potential. So they have lots of young pieces, but they just don't have enough to where they're going to make a whole lot of noise in the league this year. I also have some questions regarding their coaching. JB Bickerstaff, when he coached in Memphis, he didn't do a whole lot for that team, and I don't think it's going to be too much different here with the Cleveland Cavaliers. At number 13, I've got the Charlotte Hornets, and this is going to be the best Charlotte team that we've seen in quite some time, but I still think they'll fall short. I love the addition of Gordon Hayward. I love the drafting of LaMelo Ball. If I were the Hornets, I would start him from day one and bring Terry Rozier off the bench. I don't think they're going to do that, at least this first season, but that's just my opinion. Devontae Graham is going to need to continue what he did last year in terms of making that big improvement, making that leap. But otherwise, you're just looking for internal improvement from PJ Washington and Miles Bridges. I don't think Gordon Hayward is going to be enough to really vault you that far into the standings. But I like what Charlotte's doing. I think they're going to play hard from night to night, and I think they are going to be a fun team to watch. Coming in at 12th place in the standings is the Detroit Pistons. This is a real team who could be boom or bust because they look good on paper, because you've got a former MVP in Derrick Rose. You've got a multi-time All-Star in Blake Griffin. You've got some really young pieces in Killian Hayes, Sekou Doumbouya. You've got a solid center in Plumlee. So yeah, they look good on paper, but I think there's too many questions regarding injury concerns to Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose. I still have questions regarding that Jeremy Grant signing. I don't really know how much he's going to move the needle. And when you have young guys like Killian Hayes, Saddiq Bey, they're going to be learning a lot this year, and it's going to be a big learning curve in the NBA. At number 11, I have the Chicago Bulls, and like a lot of these other teams on the list, they're banking on internal improvement, but really, what else did they do this past offseason? Yeah, they have that new coach in Billy Donovan, which I think was a really good hire, but there's still lots of questions at that center position Wendell Carter just really hasn't shown a lot his 2 years in the league. Lauri Markkanen is really going to have to take a big leap this next year. So you're really relying a lot on Zach LaVine and Kobe White. Then I haven't even mentioned Otto Porter. It was kind of a lost season for him last year. You know, assuming he's healthy, he can give you 15 to 20 points per game, but I still don't really think that's enough to get the Bulls into that 8th seed or anywhere near the playoffs. At number 10 on my list, you have the Orlando Magic, and they really didn't do a whole lot at all in terms of free agency this year. They re-signed James Ennis, but just looking at their list, I mean, really, what else did they do? They re-signed Michael Carter-Williams, but they drafted Cole Anthony, who I like. I think he and Markelle Fultz can be a nice backcourt here in the next couple of years. They also have Chuma Okeke coming back from injury. He was out all last year after tearing his ACL at Auburn. He's going to be a nice 3-and-D player, hopefully. But they've lost Jonathan Isaac for the season. He's out with injury. Their center rotation behind Vucevic has a lot of questions. They still don't have a ton of shooting outside Evan Fournier and Terrence Ross. And then who knows what's going on with Aaron Gordon. I know they want to trade him. His season last year was nothing that great. So maybe if a guy like Markelle Fultz can really take the leap and become almost like an all-star level player, then we may be onto something. But until that happens, I've got them at number 10. And then at number 9, we have the Atlanta Hawks. I think they had the second best offseason in the Eastern Conference this year. I'll get to who I thought was the first best later on in the video. But, of course, you got Trae Young at the point guard spot. I really love the signing of Bogdan Bogdanovic. I think the Gallinari signing was a little bit of an overpay, but I think it will work out good for them. I'm eager to see what this John Collins, Clint Capella front court looks like. I like the Onyeka Okongwu draft pick. I love the Rajon Rondo and Chris Dunn signings in the offseason. I even think the Solomon Hill signing was a really good one. He's a really nice veteran player. So all that being said, I think this is going to be enough, at least for Atlanta, to make a run for that 8-9 seed playoff game. And they're definitely going to be a fun team to watch. Would not even surprise me if Trae Young gets some sort of MVP consideration throughout this season too. At number 8, and my first playoff team, assuming they win the play-in game, I've got the Indiana Pacers, and the biggest questions for the Pacers surround the health of Victor Oladipo. If he's going to be healthy, and if he's going to have like an all-star level season, then that shoots them up a couple more spots. But until I see that from him, I got to put them about midway in these standings. I love the Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo guard lineup. I think Aaron Holiday is poised for a really nice year. TJ Warren was just playing out of his mind in the bubble. If that continues, that could be really good for Indiana. I love Sabonis. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Not really sure how the front court rotation works with he and Miles Turner. But then looking at the bench, Justin Holiday is a solid player. TJ McConnell, solid backup point guard. But again, it's all going to be determined on Oladipo's health and how well he does this year. Number 7 on this list is the Washington Wizards. I love what they did with the Russell Westbrook, John Wall trade. I think the Westbrook and Brad Beal backcourt is going to be really, really strong for the Wizards. I like the addition of Denny Avdija. I would start him at the 3 spot from day one. Davis Bertans, whether he starts at the 4, whether he comes off the bench. Love his shooting on this team. Rui Hachimura, he's going to miss the first few weeks of the year, but he can have a really nice sophomore season. Thomas Bryant, nice bruiser who you can have down low. Get some easy putbacks, some rebounds. Nice 5th option in the starting lineup. But I think whenever you have a team with Russell Westbrook, you really can't count that team out, and that's how it's going to be with Washington. I think they even have the potential to move up a little higher on this list, but as of right now, got them at the number 7 spot. Number 6 is the Toronto Raptors. So all the Raptors fans, type out your comments right now saying that I have your team too low, that I'm underestimating the Raptors. I think I'm properly estimating the Raptors, and I'll tell you why. The Raptors did not get better this offseason. In fact, they got worse. They lost Serge Ibaka. They lost Marc Gasol. Kyle Lowry is getting older. Him paired with Van Vliet, really small backcourt. OG Anunoby, yeah, maybe poised for a breakout year, but it seems like we've been saying that for the last couple of seasons. And then the big man rotation behind Siakam. You're going to be starting him with Aaron Baines, but after that you've got Chris Boucher, Alex Len. Those guys would be third stringers on any other team, but you're going to be relying on them to be playing big minutes for this Raptors team. Sorry guys, but all that being said, I have you as a number 6 team in the Eastern Conference. For the number 5 team, I've got the Miami Heat, the defending Eastern Conference champions. They're really banking on internal improvement as well. Hopefully from Duncan Robinson, maybe from Kendrick Nunn, but especially from Tyler Hero. I like the draft pick they did with Precious Achiuwa. Just re-signed Goran Dragic to that big deal, so he's going to be good for them. They re-signed Myers Leonard, don't quite understand that signing. They did lose Jay Crowder, who I think helped them out a lot toward the end of last season and into the bubble. But really this starts and ends with Jimmy Butler and to a lesser extent, Bam Adebayo. If Bam Adebayo can take yet another step in his progression, then that's really going to bode well for Miami. Jimmy Butler, he's always going to be one of those guys who can get you about 20 a game, get you some rebounds, get you some assists. So the team's really going to rise and fall with how well Jimmy does. As always, their coaching, second to none. I like this Miami Heat team, but I don't think they're quite going to be in the top 4 in the East. At number 4, I've got the Boston Celtics. Besides the addition of Tristan Thompson, they really didn't do a whole lot this offseason except for losing Gordon Hayward to the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know if the Tristan Thompson addition moves the needle a whole lot. He's going to be a backup big for Daniel Tice, maybe even start in a pinch. But I like Kemba Walker on this team. I love Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown, always a nice player. Looks like with losing Gordon Hayward, Marcus Smart will now be vaulted into the starting lineup full time. Kind of like him a little bit better off the bench as just one of those bulldog players who can come in and disrupt the flow of the other team. But I do like his shooting and I like how he gets after it. I like the draft pick of Aaron Nesmith. I think he'll add a lot of shooting to that team. But just like last year, they still don't really have a whole lot in terms of big men because you're going to have Grant Williams backing up Tatum, who is going to be playing the 4. You're going to have Tristan Thompson backing up Daniel Tice, Robert Williams III. But after those guys, you know, that's really it. And all those guys are probably more deep into the rotation kind of players anyway. At number 3, I've got the Brooklyn Nets, who I think improved themselves the most this offseason. And big part of that is just because they're going to be getting Kevin Durant back. Really eager to see what he does with this Nets team. So you're going to have Kyrie Irving, Karis LeVert at those guard spots. Have Joe Harris starting along with Kevin Durant, and I think Jared Allen, they may want to start DeAndre Jordan, but I think Jared Allen would be the better starter for this team. Then a really solid bench with Spencer Dinwiddie, Landry Shamet, Jeff Green, I think still has a little bit of life in him. Same with Taurean Prince. TLC, Tyler Johnson, giving a little bit of shooting. This is a really solid team. I like what they've done by hiring Steve Nash as coach. I think that it could be almost kind of like a Steve Kerr 2.0 kind of thing. And it seems like they're going to try to institute maybe kind of a Phoenix Suns 7 seconds or less type of offense. So I think the Nets are also going to be a really fun team to watch. Going to score a lot of points. Going to have some good defense, some good shooting. And I think they're going to be pretty high in the Eastern Conference. Number 2, I've got the Philadelphia 76ers. And the biggest question with him going into the offseason was, could they address the shooting concerns that plagued them last year? And, you know, they went out and did it. They traded for Danny Green. They traded for Seth Curry, 2 really nice shooters. They drafted a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who can also fill it up from off the bench. I like how they signed Dwight Howard to back up Joel Embiid, because we know Joel Embiid is going to miss some games, if not for injury, maybe some rest. Dwight Howard really showed last year with the Lakers that he's got quite a bit left in the tank. So this is a team that can go really deep with guys off the bench like Matisse Thybulle, Dwight Howard, Furkan Korkmaz, Curry, Maxey. Even Terrence Ferguson could maybe give you a few minutes too. So this is a team that can go like 10 or 11 deep. I like them for the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And for the number 1 seed, Milwaukee Bucks, Milwaukee, Algonquin, for the good land. They added Drew Holiday to this team over the offseason, which was a beautiful move, I think. They're going to move Dante DiVincenzo into that shooting guard spot, which I think he's poised for a nice year. Chris Middleton at the 3, got Giannis and Lopez rounding out the starting 5. They even fortified their bench a little bit. DJ Augustine is a really nice backup point guard. Bryn Forbes going to give you a lot in the shooting department. I like what they did by drafting guys like Jordan Nwora, Sam Merrill. I think those guys can add some shooting to this team. Maybe even Bobby Portis to an extent. Give him about 15-20 minutes. Let him shoot the ball a little bit. Score some buckets. Get some rebounds. Like this Milwaukee team, they went for about 60 wins last season. Not quite sure if they'll get as many this year. But until they show me otherwise, I have them still as my number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So that's what I have for the rankings, but I said at the beginning of the video that I was going to tell you who I had going to the Eastern Conference Finals in this video. Now, for my finals prediction, I have the Nets over the Bucks in 6 games. That's what I think, but let me know in the comments what you think. What did I get right on this list? What did I get wrong? I don't think I got anything wrong, but if I did, hey, you got to tell me. Also, if you enjoyed this content, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Going for 327 likes on today's video. It only takes a second and really helps out the channel so much. But that's all I've got for today. Appreciate everybody watching. My name is Troy. This is the Half Court Report. See you on the next video.